Welcome to Meeples on Meeples, episode 90. I'm Adam.
And I'm Brian.
As usual, before we get into our game this week, we want to invite you over to all of our social media pages, Twitter, Facebook. Come check out our YouTube channel where we post all of our videos. Subscribe to our channel so you can follow along, as well as our website, meeplesonmeeples.com.
This week's game of the week is Kingdomino by Blue Orange Games. Kingdomino is basically, essentially it's a tile laying game. In the game, you each start with a castle, and you are building your kingdom. The way this works is 3 tiles are laid out, or a tile for each player. In this case, we draw these 3 tiles, and you lay them the lowest number that are on the back to the highest number. So there's a 4, a 34, a 23. Then the first player gets to choose first. Let's say blue wants this double forest. Yellow then says they want to take this one, and pink wants this one. After that, you then get to take those tiles and lay them in your kingdom. Okay, as you take them, you draw the next 3 tiles out of the box, and again in numerical order. So the 36 would go right here. Then the 44, 45. You look at what you're going to be bidding on next. The person who's at the top of the line always gets to go first. So they would take this, they have to place it on their kingdom, and then they get to choose next. And say they want to go here. And then say pink would take that one, put it on the kingdom, they want to go there, and then yellow takes this one, puts it in their kingdom, and they choose that tile. Then you play out 3 more, and that's how you keep going. This person always gets first bid on the next round. Now, when you lay tiles on your kingdom, you have to play them kind of domino style, where they have to match at least one of the sides, touching and matching a side that's already in your kingdom. So I have a forest there. The next time I lay this, I can play this here, because it's a forest on a forest, so I'm okay there. The middle tile counts as a wild. So let's say I got this the next time, I could lay this here. And basically I lay it out, and it has to be a 5 by 5 grid. Nothing can extend beyond 5 out across or 5 up and down. So next round maybe I'd want to do this, because the waters match and the forest match, so that's an extra good play right there. And maybe I got this one next round. This would actually be a pretty good scoring kingdom. What's going to happen though is you're slowly going to build this kingdom up, and it's going to get bigger and expand. And so right now I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. I'm not quite 5 up, but eventually you draw until you had your 5 by 5 grid. At the end of the game, when everybody's built their grid, what you score in the following manner. You take the land type times the number of crowns included in that land type. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 water times 1 crown, so I get 4 points for my oceans over here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive forest spaces times 2 crowns. That's 14. And so I'd add that 14 plus that 4, so I'm at 18 points. This is worth 1 point, 1 crown times 1. But you get the idea that you would score your land the type times the number of crowns. And it's possible that I could have forests broken up and have another forest over here that's only worth 2 points. It's possible that I played poorly down here. These fields are worth 0 points. I have 2 times 0 crowns in there. So that's how you score. At the end of the game, the person with the highest score wins.
Let's talk likes and dislikes. I'll start off by saying, for such a simple game, the artwork on the game is pretty amazing. I mean, it's one side of the domino, of course, is just a wood with a number on it, but the other side that has the side you play, that has the forest, the fields, the water. Each one of them is different, hand illustrated, and has kind of hidden gems in them.
And not just different from the other types, but the forest squares are different from the other forest squares, and not every ocean square is the same as the others. And as far as the hidden gems go, there's my personal favorite is the Lord of the Rings reference, where at first you look at it and there's this little guy and a little spider, but when you look closely, he's holding up something glowing and the spider's rearing back, and it's definitely a throwback to like Samwise facing off against Shelob trying to save Frodo or whatever. But there's a sea monster reference, a dragon. It's just great little cartoony characters.
I kind of wonder the big windmill, if it's a Don Quixote kind of reference or something. I don't know if that's what it would be or not.
Could very well be, actually.
I mean, it's just the fact that they're referencing other fictional works out there. But the art on it, for, like I said, how simple a game it is really, really good.
And when you put together your kingdom, it looks cool to see the fields all lined up and the squares. It is very pretty, and I'm glad they use very bright colors. It really pops.
Yeah, I mean, even though they, none of them are meant to lay directly next to each other, they're all meant to be interchangeable, obviously. It still looks good. I mean, the way it lays out. I mean, sometimes you get a house that's, cockeyed from the other house next to it on the field there, but overall, it doesn't look bad. It looks like a map, a patchwork from the sky kind of thing.
Absolutely. And to show the kind of intricate detail that they paid attention, not only, of course, we got to mention the 3D castles, which are gorgeous, and they fit back into the box without taking them apart, which is a plus. If you were constantly doing that, they'd fall apart. But the board that goes underneath it, okay, your starting square. At first, I thought it was just, okay, everybody gets the same starting square, but if you look at the bushes lining the pathways, for the pink castle, the bushes have little teeny, you have to look closely, pink berries or fruits on them.
Oh, yeah.
And the yellow has little teeny yellow dots on its bushes, so there's actually an individual starting square for each castle, which you could completely overlook.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, component-wise, I think they did great. The dominoes or tiles are thick. I mean, I don't think
high-quality meeples, wooden meeples.
You're not going to get any warping, I don't think, out of this. And it all fits in a very compact, small box.
Which comes with a nice, fast playing time. Which is good because the game this light, if it dragged on, it could definitely suffer from that, as well as a low price point. So it's very budget friendly and shelf space friendly, which, these are all things I love in a game.
Yeah, I think it says 15 minutes. I think that's probably about right. You can knock out a game really, really fast. A lot of fun. And it's 8+, and I think you might be able to sneak that down a little bit depending on the player.
With some help. I played with my 10-year-old daughter, and at first she struggled a little bit, and then she kind of wrapped her head around it. So I think at the 8 range you might have to have them play alongside with somebody. But it definitely is family friendly, and I would say even non-gamer friendly. Like if you had company over, some friends over that weren't really into games, I think they could latch onto this pretty easily.
And back to the components even again. The insert in the box, how it fits everything nicely. It's not all shaking around and going everywhere. I mean, it's really nice that way.
Since we're heaping praise, are there any dislikes? If I had to come up with one, and this is we're nitpicking here, it plays to 4. It would be nice if you could squeeze, and I think there are people out there like, well, just buy a second set. You can play as many people as you want. And I guess you could. The tiles might repeat. I don't know how that would throw off gameplay. A 5th player might be nice for some families. But again, that's nitpicking.
And that's not going to throw a lot onto the additional playtime. 15 minutes, another person in there, maybe another couple minutes added onto it. Overall, though, I think, like you said, a lot of praise for the game and not a lot to dislike.
Yes, a very solid package. That brings us to our next section, strategy. It's a light game. What do you think?
The goal, obviously, is to get the perfect square, get your castle right in the middle, so it does take some planning, and I found...
Well, that's true, because you do get the bonus points. If you don't have any gaps, if you have a complete 25 by 20, or 5 by 5 by 25 square grid, it's 5 extra points, I believe. If you keep your castle in the center, that is 10 bonus points at the end of the game.
And I couldn't lay it out for you now. This obviously is probably the pattern, but I when I was playing it, I found a pattern for laying out pieces that would allow me to get my castle in the center, would allow me to get the perfect square around it. And so my goal was just to keep myself in that pattern and do whatever I could, pick the next tile I was going to get to make sure it was going to fit within the pattern, so I wouldn't end up with those holes, so I wouldn't end up with a off-center castle, that kind of thing.
Fair enough. And then again, those bonus points at the end, sometimes it comes down to the wire. They make a big difference. Another strategy, it's just kind of, as you play the game, start to know the different land types. Because I play games where people go for a lot of water, and water is one of the most common, here's the double right here, one of the most common landforms. There's a lot of water tiles. But rarely do you get water, and I pulled a bunch up here, there are fewer crowns on water.
Yeah.
So it's easy to big water, but to score, to make sure you get a crown so you score that water, is tough. On the other hand, there are not many gold mines, but they almost always have 1, 2, I think even 3 crowns on some of them.
Yeah.
So...
Matter of fact, I don't know if there's a blank mine out there. I think they might.
Maybe. So you kind of know crown to land ratio, and make sure you get crowns so that you score something. In this layout that I quickly put together before the video, you see the forest is huge, but there's only 2 crowns on this forest that is 7 squares big.
And I know I had a game where I had a ton of water, and I still ended up doing fairly well, but the water took up probably more than half my map, and I only had 3 crowns on it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a crapshoot that way. But I guess what else for strategy?
Meeple placement.
Oh yeah. True.
Whenever you lay them out, as I said, the rules, the lower number goes on top. That's because they tend to be the waters and the forests, as you can see here, a double water and a double forest tile with no crowns on them. The higher numbers tend to have more crowns and higher scoring. So, yeah, you might get the crown and whatever, but you're going to be the last one to go next time.
Yeah, so if you know there's, say in the second row, there's something you really, really want,
or desperately need to score,
it might be a good strategy to take the crummy forest with no crowns, knowing that then you can hop on and get, if it's a gold mine that has 2 crowns on it or whatever you need.
For instance, in this situation, let's say I had a bunch of forests without a single crown yet. I could go take this forest and know that next round I'll have first choice at, finally a forest with a crown, so that's not wasted space. Mm-hmm. It does help out a lot. Otherwise, it's a pretty light game.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk our reviews. Do a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being great, go out and buy it, 5 being, it's all right, 1 being absolutely terrible and avoid it like the plague. This one has won a fair number of awards, done really well. So my score is going to be up there. I'd probably be at an 8.5 on it. The only knock I'd have is it is a light game, and we have lots of light games. There's lots of
I do have a lot in my collection.
And there's a lot of good light games out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can easily fill up your collection, and, if you have a light game of choice, is this one going to make it to the tables often? I don't know. Components, though, are great. Gameplay is fast. We didn't really talk about it much, but, theme kind of pulls through. You got your castle, and you're building your kingdom around it.
When you're doing a light tile game like this, I think the theme probably comes through as much as it can.
Yeah.
Realistically.
There's nothing wrong with it, though. Anybody could pick it up and play it. Rules are simple. You're not going to be digging through the rule book. The only, like I said, negative, and it's not really that big a negative, is there's a lot of, if you go to you go to your Target or Walmart now, you can find a lot of these really quick-playing little games like this that are all pretty good. This I'd put on the higher end of that, and that's why it gets an 8.5 from me. But, yeah, that'd be my thoughts on it.
I'm gonna kind of piggyback on there. I'm at about an 8.5, 9. It's a tough call. I'll just give it a nice even number. I'm gonna go with 9, really high, because I have kids. I've played it with 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. It plays well at every level. You can do it solo. Oh no, you can't do it solo. It looks like.
No, true.
It has a really cool 2-player element where you use all of the tiles and you make a 7x7 grid, and that's a lot more challenging than you think. Like sometimes you can't quite fill in your whole 5x5 grid when you get to the 7x7. So that's kind of a cool little addition to the gameplay. And like I said, when we did our likes and dislikes, you heard how many positive things we had to say and all the praise we heaped on it. It's really hard to pick something apart. It's on the light side, but I think that's works in its benefit. I don't think you'd want to try to stretch out a tile-laying game beyond that. And again, with the gorgeous artwork, the fast gameplay, it's so inexpensive. It takes up little shelf space. There's really no reason not to have this in your collection. Solid game. I'm going to go 9.
All right, well, that's our thoughts on Kingdomino. Check back next week and see what we've been playing.